I find it only fitting that since today I'm going to talk about NXT Stand and Deliver, that I begin and talk about me delivering on what I promise. I've told you before, and if it's your first time, I'm telling you now, Gamble Comics is coming back to Indiegogo, and when it comes back with Everlasting Survivor's second printing, we'll have stickers. We'll have 2 new covers, Jeff Hicks cover, a Fabrice Ferdian cover. These are the 11 by 17 posters of said new covers. And I've been talking about it, but I don't just talk, I stand and I deliver. Here is the reveal of the Gamble Comics hat. Hopefully soon I will have the Everlasting Survivor shirt to show off. Speaking of showing off, in the main event in Dallas, Texas, the show off. He came, he stood, he delivered, and he retained the NXT Championship against the man who should be called Braun Steiner. Or Rex Steiner, or not Braun Breaker, but the rookie, the kid, the guy, he's still doing good work. In my opinion, he's to slow it down a little, have a little more care, but I understand he's probably not 30 matches deep in his career. So being in the main event against a guy like Dolph Ziggler, who does deliver when he's in the ring, good job to both men. The main event, there were some spots where I felt, oh my goodness, is one of these guys going to get hurt? As far as I know, both are all right. I was unable to watch Supercard of Honor last night, or GCW, or any of the pre-WrestleMania weekend programming. So NXT Stand and Deliver was my first watch of wrestling this weekend in the big 2-night WrestleMania stupendous blah 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 stuff. And I'll be honest, I haven't been sold on NXT 2.0, but with Stand and Deliver being in a big arena, which helps tremendously, the more you can get NXT out of that performance center, go back to Full Sail. Go to freaking Barclays. Go wherever you gotta go. Get out of that performance center, because it just feels so rinky-dink, so small time. But when these guys and girls are in the big time, when they're in the big arena, it feels more substantial, because the presentation is so much better. And that's with any wrestling product. When you can have a hot crowd going crazy, it's the way to go. So, starting from the pre-show, so before the top, but in the pre-show, the NXT Women's Tag Team titles were on the line. The reunited Raquel Gonzalez and Wade Barrett needs to stop calling her Big Mommy Cool. Like, say it now and then, but don't say it every sentence. My goodness, that's wearing out that stupid nickname. And I get it. Oh, she's tall and the other one's not, but cut it out. Make it special. But yeah, so the reunited Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, they defeated Toxic Attraction. It was a really good pre-show match. It was, even if it was on the main card, it would have belonged. It was good. Before you even start the actual event, while we're still in the pre-show, they bring down 2 of the 5 men for the North American Championship ladder match. And then they rerun the opening, and we get the additional entrances. That match itself, freaking crazy. WWE loved them some high octane, some insane ladder matches. I mean, wrestling in general does. It's not like that AEW Revolution didn't go crazy with their ladder match, because they sure did. But this North American ladder match, it had so many non-participants interacting. It reminded me a lot Not exactly, but it was reminiscent of WrestleMania. What was it, 18? Where I think it was 18, maybe it was 17. It reminded me of the WrestleMania where all three teams had an additional interactive character. Like the Dudleys had Spike, the Hardys had Lita, and Edge and Christian had Rhino. Well, in this case, this 5-man ladder match, you had three additions for Santos Escobar because all the members of Legado del Fantasma were down. Trick Williams helped out, tried to help out Carmelo Hayes, and Senga, I think his name is, the bodyguard for Grayson Waller they were all out there. They would constantly get involved. Eventually, we did have a spot that got rid of all of them, so good job making that work. Once again, title match, title change. Cameron Grimes went to the moon and became North American champion. Great match. Great story. Feel for the guy. With me, his story was he wanted to do it for his father who had passed. I totally understand. Not whole reason, but one of the big reasons I'm pushing and wanting everybody to take a chance on Gamble Comics and Everlasting Survivors is because my first and biggest fan, my mother, she passed last year, and that's why I'm pushing so hard. I want to make her proud. I understand the Cameron Grimes story. Good stuff. Glad the babyface went over. Really cool. After that crazy fun chaos of the ladder match, we get a good, interesting entrance from Tony D'Angelo. He's riding in a very classic car with some Netflix actor I don't know from some Netflix show I also don't know. But it was cool. It was interesting. It was I mean, I like D'Angelo's character. He's compelling, but let's all be real. Anybody who has watched NXT can't help but be invested in Tommaso Ciampa. Like, literally the crowd is chanting Tommy wrestling instead of Johnny wrestling, like his old tag partner. Super awesome. They had a great recap of all the great things he's done. Love it. Love that man. He did a water tribute to Triple H. He did a pose tribute to Shawn Michaels. Ciampa just loves wrestling. Throughout the match, I was asking myself, is Tony D'Angelo the next top guy? Thinking that Breakker would win the title back and maybe D'Angelo would be the guy to dethrone him. Turns out, Breakker didn't win. So I don't know who they're building for what. Maybe Breakker will go to the main roster. Who knows? I don't know. We'll all have to wait and see. They love doing shake-up stuff post-Mania. But after the match, Triple H's music hits. He comes out. He hugs Tommaso. They almost look related with the both having the shaved or maybe not necessarily related, but they look very similar with the big beards and the shaved heads, and they both so good. Took a note, which again, talking about the big arena and the good feel of how nice it is for wrestling to be, and by wrestling I mean this particular brand to be in a big arena. Seeing them in the big arena helped, but I did notice a lot that there were so many generic entrance themes that it was just like, oh. I miss Jim Johnston, and heck, I even miss CFO Money, or whatever their gimmick was. The music is just like random track number 2 all the time. And what really brought it to my attention is a faction I think of on the rise in Diamond Mine. When their music hit, it was just like, you ain't nothing. Your music sounds like nothing. It's just like boring. So, but even though their entrance was boring and their music's lame, those young kids they really had a banger with MSK, formerly the Rascals from Impact, and Imperium. Like clearly the 4 guys who have more experience guided the young Creed brothers along. Once again, title match, title change, and MSK are your new NXT Tag Team Champions. I strongly recommend for anybody who has let NXT fall off from their watch list since they went to the 2.0 branding. I think that this pay-per-view feels much like, I mean, obviously you still got the splashy colors and the a lot of guys who aren't there yet, but all the guys who aren't there are in matches, and girls too for that matter, with people that are there. So even though the Creed brothers need work, MSK Imperium, they made this thing rock solid, super hard hitting, fast paced, crazy awesome. So anybody who's let 2.0 or NXT, I mean, fall out of your watch, out of your like normal watching routine, I strongly suggest going and watching Stand and Deliver because it did deliver. The next matchup, it's the NXT Women's Championship match with a new design. I wish they'd have kept the black strap, but now the NXT Women's Championship matches all the other women's titles in WWE has a white strap. They also added splashes of color behind the initials NXT. I don't hate it. It's not terrible. It's still one of the best designed belts in the company because the NXT titles are just superior to the main roster, especially when it comes to the two tops, like the men's and the women's, because they're not just the big logo, which I strongly hope WWE, I know they're not going to get rid of the big logo, but if they can just adjust it to where it has more to it, more just something else to it, much like the NXT, where it's, it's WWE, NXT, and Champion Big, but there's additional accoutrements in the back, things that make it pop and have personality. That's really all I'm asking of what I would hope to be a main roster title redesign, is just give us some more oomph to it. Like, there are definitely creators out there, whether it's Wildcats or Dave Milliken or Belts by Dan, anybody. There are people out there that can make these belts awesome. And to prove me wrong that not every song in NXT or entrance theme music is bad, Io Shirai, banger theme song. Oh, so cool. Mandy Rose gets a very Bobby Roode, glorious entrance, very reminiscent of his old time on top of NXT. Rose, she is the first to retain the championship of the night. Once again, this Fatal 4-Way, you can see where Cora isn't on the same level as Io or Ray or even Rose for that matter, but all the veterans keep the inexperienced one, in good hands and safe condition. So if you haven't watched NXT Stand and Deliver, watch it tomorrow before you watch the second night of WrestleMania. It's a good show. Next up, we've got the man who should have never been renamed, Walter. I don't like his new name, so I'm gonna call him Walter because it's better, and it's his name. Like, the crowd chants it. Like, you're not getting your way, Vince. Like, everybody knows he's Walter. They chant Walter. There's no point in calling him Gunther. But you have him in the best shape I've ever seen him in. He comes out. He looks ready. Like, he is ready. He's a star. And then same with LA Knight. He comes out. That guy, Eli Drake, LA Knight, whatever you want to call him. Both these guys. This was the only match that I can recall on the night where both participants, or every participant in the match, ready to go. No need to be in developmental. There is no developing that needs to be done. There are characters that are ready for prime time, ready for main events. Especially with Knight, he can cut promos. He looks like $1 million. He calls himself the megastar. Well, he looks like it. Like, why is this man? I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand the concept that NXT needs guys to help guys, but my goodness, this dude, he could be and should be pushed on Raw or SmackDown, especially Raw. I mean, that show is 3 hours. 3 hours. Anyway, great match, good times. Not Walter, whatever. LA Knight takes the fall. So maybe he will be going up. Who knows? And yeah, it's the only other match of the night. I already started out that way. Dolph Ziggler, Braun Breaker, they were in the main event. They came, they stood, they delivered. It was totally worth watching. If you didn't watch it, you should check it out. And just like NXT, Oz, and Gamble Comics, Everlasting Survivors, we stand, we deliver. There will be a link to the Etsy store in the description. So if you haven't gotten your copy of Everlasting Survivors Volume 1 all day long, I recently did a count. There aren't that many left. So if you want a Jeff Hicks cover, cover A, Jeff Hicks, or if you want a cover B, Nick Crook cover, you'll have to go to the Etsy store. They are not going to last forever. And when they are sold out, they will never be printed again. Because when Everlasting Survivors from Gamble Comics returns to Indiegogo, there will be 2 brand new covers. And this is the new cover art from Jeff Hicks. This is the new cover art from the ongoing artist for the series, Fabry Ferdinand. And like I said, if you didn't watch Stand and Deliver, watch Stand and Deliver. Come back to the channel, Mr. Super Oz. It's been great having you. Bye.